police lights were washing my living room in red and blue when the cruiser slid to a stop and Beverly Crane planted herself in my yard. Finger out, voice up, yelling, "My boy deserves that lodge." And yeah, she meant our cabin, while her son Kyle filmed like we were an episode of something I didn't sign a release for, and in that split second, I remember thinking this has to be a prank right then. I caught the look in her eyes and realized Cedar Hollow wasn't a sleepy lake town at all. It was a stage, and the lady with the HOA clipboard thought she wrote the script. My name's Ethan Cole. I sell tools to contractors and change my own oil on Saturdays. My wife Ava is the kind of calm that makes cops lower their hands and babies stop crying. And we came back to Ironwood Lake because my granddad Samuel left us his place. Timber walls, a porch that sits just above the waterline floorboards that creak like old men telling better stories than you. We thought we were inheriting peace. Turns out we were inheriting a fight. Beverly didn't introduce herself that first day. She announced, "You're trespassing. He took care of your grandfather." This was promised. And when I said the deed says otherwise, she lifted her phone and went live to the HOA page. "Neighbors witness this. Thieves stealing my boy's inheritance," which is how I learned half our zip code treats Facebook like a courthouse officer. Nolan Pierce rolled up, ran the parcel, looked at the deed, and said as gentle as a man can say it, "It's legally his Ms. Crane," then handed me my paperwork, while Beverly hissed "corruption" like she'd been practicing it in the mirror, and Kyle stared at the nursery window we hadn't even hung a curtain on. That night at 12:17, the motion lights popped, and the cameras caught red paint sliding down our siding. Thieves out. And I did the dumb thing where you walk outside with a flashlight because it's your house and anger makes you brave and stupid. Ava tugged my sleeve and pointed to muddy sock prints under the nursery window. Inside the crib we hadn't assembled yet was a blue envelope, like a polite letter from the devil. "Beautiful room would be a shame if something happened to it," in my grandfather's handwriting. Same swoop on the S, same tight beat between letters. Except he'd been gone 6 months, and I felt my stomach go cold, while Ava said the quiet part out loud. They had access to him. Who had access to him? Ethan, who handled his mail, his medicine, his keys. When you were away. We walked into the station the next morning smelling like paint thinner and bad sleep. Pierce looked at the note longer than I wanted and said, almost like he hated the words, "Ms. Crane filed a missing persons on her husband last month. We tried to follow up, and then he told me not to engage online because Beverly's HOA page might as well be Sunday service around here." You know what I mean. By noon, the comments made us the city folks who came to steal a saint's legacy. People love a simple story because simple feels safe. But the thing about simple is it can be a straight line right off a cliff. Ava looked at me and said, "We're not hiding. We're going over there." And that's what we did. We didn't barge in. We knocked. Beverly opened with a smile, like a blade. The house smelled like fake citrus and secrets. Kyle sat tapping his knee like he was begging his mom to stop and couldn't make his mouth say it. That's when I saw a small black pouch half hidden behind an armchair. Beverly noticed my eyes notice it. "Old files," she chirped too fast. And my wife, the one with the steel under the soft, scooped the pouch and dumped it onto the rug. Not files, SD cards, dozens, each labeled in tidy block letters. Cole, 2M, Harper, 5R, Dugan, 1. Ava held one up like evidence and asked, "Care visits." and for the first time, Beverly's smile trembled. Kyle whispered, "You should leave. It's too late now." So quiet, I almost missed it. But that line stuck under my skin like a splinter. Behind a bookshelf sat a waist-high safe with a basic dial. Ava used to work insurance claims and can read people in tumblers. 20 minutes later, its side open. Inside were a ledger and photos that hit like a punch. Elders in their kitchens and recliners. Soft eyes, each print marked with a tiny blue dot in the corner. Same ink. Same hand on the backs. Block letter notes. Pills mixed confused, no family. And in the ledger, HOA accounts, bleeding into a shell called Hollow Pines Community Partners. Then into an account named for Kyle, a sticky note clipped to a transfer. Per our arrangement, keep Kyle's disbursement regular. And right there, the promise turned into a pipeline. The halo turned into a hustle. We had a choice rush. What we had to the police, and watch half the town scream. Or show the people who already believed Beverly that there was another story. Ava chose the living room route we called neighbors, who still waved at us if teen came. Two leaned on the wall, with arms crossed like bouncers and Ms. June Walker clutched a tote like it held her heartbeat. We showed just enough. Ledger page with the names blacked out except Beverly and Kyle. 2 SD cards in clear bags. One photo with the blue dot covered by a sticky. And June cleared her throat and said, eyes on the floor. I drank tea at Beverly's, felt woozy for days, thought it was just me. And you could feel the air change because the room recognized a story. It didn't want, and believed it anyway. Beverly crashed the meeting. Accused me of props, and Ava of cyber stalking, reached for a last trick by clutching her chest and whispering, "My heart." The EMT said, "Ma'am, your vitals are normal." And the mask slid off while the board voted to remove her. She left spitting promises that we'd regret humiliating her. And the people who didn't clap still exhaled like something in their ribs let go. Next day at the records office, that low building that smells like paper and disappointment, Pierce flashed a badge, and the clerk stopped asking questions. We found deeds and transfers that drew a picture anyone could read. Properties changing hands for $1 and flipping through a non-profit to a rental trust. 3 counties over. And in the signatures, the treasurer, Victor Hale, church. Smile, clean haircut, always posting selfies with trash bags from community cleanups. His name kept landing where the money landed, and when we chased it to the county airport, we caught him rolling a carry-on like it owed him an apology. Pierce made a call. Security boxed him without touching him. Victor didn't run or confess. He waited for a lawyer, which said enough. News travels faster than good sense. The Chronicle splashed the ledger. Names redacted. The prosecutor. Sprinted charges stacked. Fraud, elder abuse, conspiracy for Beverly vandalism. Witness intimidation, and financial crimes for Kyle embezzlement, and laundering for Victor. The courtroom felt like weather. Our side quiet and flinty. The other side there to believe Beverly into freedom. Her lawyer came slick with words like narrative and fabrication, called the SD cards edited, and the ledger a prank, called me a bitter heir, and Ava a manipulator. That one hurt. Then the state called Detective Alvarez stare like a straight edge, and she walked the jury through metadata chain of custody, then played 3 short clips. Beverly coaching Kyle to keep claims consistent, joking that donations look better than invoices, laughing about getting a confused man to sign community consent, and you could hear people listening. Ava had one more card. A letter that never made the docket a quiet offer mailed to Beverly a week before arraignment. If she took the brunt, I could skate with probation. Not illegal. Just ugly. The judge overruled the objection and read it. Beverly didn't look at her son, and her son didn't look at anyone. The verdict came like a door closing. Guilty on the web of counts for Beverly. The judge stacked years on years until the number felt like calendars. You never flip through Kyle got 10 for the intimidation, the vandalism, the money. He knew wasn't his for being part of a machine that treated elders like open safes. And yeah, folks argued too much or not enough. That's how justice feels sometimes. Not perfect, just final. Here's the twist. When the room emptied and the Wood remembered, it was just Wood. Alvarez pulled us into a side office with stacks stamped confidential. Beverly wasn't the head, she said. She was the front. The money moved through Victor, but it landed with a trust registered to Cassandra Hale, his sister, who sits on boards for elder care nonprofits and keynotes HOA conferences in other states. The mastermind never fights in the comments. They chair a panel 2 counties over and send you a checklist. You know what I mean? We drove the long way home around Ironwood, honey light on the ridgeline, Ava's hands over the baby, and that look she gets when she's counting blessings and exits at the same time. I left a square of red paint unwashed for a week as a reminder, then I sanded it and rolled 3 coats. While a loon called from the far bank like it was taking attendance. The town breathed easier for a minute. Pinecrest picked new folks with quiet voices. June started a potluck. Pierce sometimes parked at the end of our drive and did a crossword so the message would be clear. Without a siren, then the text started again from numbers that don't call back. Think twice before you make enemies. You don't know whose money you're touching. I printed every one and handed them to Alvarez. She said the work was moving up a level state and maybe federal. And that's when I learned. Peace is not what happens after the gavel. It's what you build on your porch in the meantime. If you've ever been the person people underestimate, the quiet one, the new one, the one who doesn't talk HOA, hear me, being decent isn't the same as being a doormat. Paperwork is a line. Your porch is a line. Your kid's room is a line. You guard with your whole spine. I don't hate Kyle. Hate is heavy and dumb. He did harm, and he got 10. Maybe he'll learn who he is. Without his mother's voice in his ear. Beverly said, "You'll regret this," as they let her out. But the only thing I regret is how long we let a clipboard stand in for character. So that's where I'll leave you for now. Beverly screamed that her boy deserved our lodge. A judge told her what he actually earned. The town learned to ask better questions. And somewhere a woman with a polished bio is counting on you being tired, on you wanting quiet, more than truth on you, thinking you're alone. We aren't. Tell me what you think in the comments. Was 10 years right for Kyle too much? Not enough. Where's the line between neighborly grace and enabling abuse? Do HOAs protect communities or become a mask for control? Share your take your story. The thing you had to fight for that should have been simple, like your own name on your own front door.